And welcome once again to the Movie Stuff Show. This is the Tuesday night, 9 p.m. edition of the Movie Stuff Show. This is Dan and this is Marty. We are coming to you live on the streams of YouTube for all of our singles of viewers out there. Good evening, Marty.
Good evening, Sir Dan.
How are you?
I was just tweeting out our thing because we were a little late putting the whole thing together.
A little bit late putting it. That is an understatement, Martin. That is an understatement.
On time, though.
Yeah, we pretty much on time, right? I mean, you know, we'll see how it goes. I'm in the looking at the live streaming, the live control room. For all of you people that don't know how YouTube does this, you got like a live control room where you kind of like push the show live. It's saying that our primary stream is bad right now, so I'm hoping. I mean, you're watching, right? You have it on. It doesn't seem bad.
Not so far.
Okay, then we'll go with that.
Maybe they're just faking editorial comments now as opposed to just quality
content. Okay, they're talking about content. Yes, the stream is bad.
Yeah.
He's basically saying the content is bad. And bad is that like slang, like 80s slang, that it's actually good?
I don't think that anyone uses that anymore. No.
Right. What do the kids say these days?
I think fresh is still out there. Maybe.
No, really?
No.
I don't know.
I was hoping.
Sick. I think sick.
I think hot is still good.
Maybe.
This works for us because we're like, you sound like an old dad trying to relate to the kids.
I am an old dad, and I do have to relate to kids. I got 2 young kids, and this is the perfect segue. See, the segue is good job. Into our episode this week, we're going to talk about the top 5 and the bottom 5 dads in film. Right? That's the.
In honor of Father's Day, and we have a friend who just had his second kid, and you of course have 2. And
I do. We and a lot of people are having. Well,
another friend having another one. Yeah, we're just.
Well, a couple.
Yeah.
I guess I'll leave it. Another friend of mine, not quite yours, is having a kid. And my cousin's having another kid as well. So lots of kids popping out. So be careful, people.
Yes, I like to walk by the nuclear plant at least once a week just to make sure.
Well, at my job, I have 14 computers at my desk.
It's too
14. Many. So if I it's fried at this point, Anyway, don't have to worry about that.
It's either very small computers or a big desk. There you go.
Hey,
Dan likes to put the laptop right on. Remember they came out back in the day saying don't put the laptop on the lap because did all that stuff. Dan just boom
right there,
not even working on it.
No,
just lets it run.
No, right there. Yeah.
He's supposed to unplug the battery once it's charged.
I start licking the battery. Right. So it's like here's a battery. Here's a snack. Okay, so
Dan loves his kids though.
I do. No, I do. I love my kids to death. Listen, I love both my kids. I just don't think there should be a third of.
No.
I don't think there should be a third in the line.
Three is blunt.
It's just. Well, at that point, it's just sadistic. I mean,
2 just for merely replacement value, and then.
Just at this point, it's listen. It's an insurance policy. One of them needs a kidney. Well, listen, I got another one that can give them one.
I got spare parts over here.
This episode of Movie Stuff brought to you by Hendrick's Gin.
There you go. Like an old dad drinking gin. Yelling at people. Oh, there goes.
Blessing. Every day is a blessing. Every day is a blessing. My lovely wife. Okay, so I got a list of 5 and 5, so 10 all in. I don't know if you did the same. 5 bad, 5 good.
I can break it down to lists. I got some multiples and I got some things, multiple. I got one actor in three movies,
Ooh,
all in the worst, so we can pick which one I think
Oh,
might
okay.
be the worst.
Cool. Yeah, I want to end on a positive note. So let's start with the worst. Let's. Yeah, I don't have a ranking. I just have
No,
5
I
and
don't
5.
think.
I don't have a ranking or anything like that. So start with one of yours, and then I'll go with one of mine.
All right, well, because we decided to do this one. I started looking at different lists online, and this one was appearing on a lot of the best lists that I saw. But I'll just come out and say that I think he's one of the worst, and that's Robin Williams, Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh,
because that's fucked up.
Would you like to elaborate, Martin?
Do I really need to? He dressed up as a woman and hung around his kids a lot because he was too bad. He was too bad a dad to begin with to be around his kids. Let's not forget that part. That was the first part of the movie where he brought a zoo into the house, and everyone thought, "Oh, Sally Field's just a bitch, doesn't want a zoo in her house." That's what would Erin do if she came home and you had a cow and whatnot in the house?
She would be listen, cow would be milk, right? If I had a goat, the goats eat. She's telling me we should get a goat. Fucking goats eat
I have a very
poison
large
ivy.
yard.
I do have a yard, and so goats and cows would actually be very good for my yard.
But this was a very small San Francisco apartment, what I recall, and there were horses and such. And then he proceeded to dress up as a woman before it was politically correct to do so, or I might say, and then spied on his wife and kids, essentially. I don't know. I think if you put that before any jury, they would say, "Yeah, that guy's fucked up." And kid show, notwithstanding. And he had problems with, what was it, the cartoons? The cartoon wouldn't smoke, so he lost his job doing that. I mean, so it's not okay for the cartoon bird to smoke, but it's okay for you to dress up as a woman and spy on your ex-wife.
Seems fair.
It's a weird set of morals. Weird set of morals on that guy.
The first one on my list is Jack Torrance from The Shining.
Yeah, that's solid. It's hard to argue.
I mean, not to say that it's necessarily 100% his fault of how the movie unfolds, right? His demons and all that, but he still seems like a shitty dad to begin with.
Oh yeah, not a good.
Like, does not seem seems very violent, abusive. He's a drunk, and he gets possessed by ghosts, pretty much.
Hey, let's not. Just because you're a drunk doesn't mean you can't be a good dad.
Again, this episode brought to you by Hendrick's Gin. Yeah, I think Jack Torrance not winning any Father of the Year awards.
No, yeah, that's you're on solid ground there.
Yeah. What do you got next? Who you got next?
I got Denzel in 3 different movies. We can choose one.
Oh man. Okay. All right.
Start off with He Got Game. Where he kills the mother in front of the kid, accident or not. He still did push her. It wasn't like it was a complete accident. I didn't, you push someone, they hit their head, and you still did it. It's it's your fault.
Okay.
Then he tries to essentially pimp out his kid to go to college, and then just really not a nice guy to begin with. And even before he killed him, he kind of one of those. Essentially, was one of those sports dads, pushing the kid to and it worked, I suppose. He turned out great, but not Ray Allen's best performance, I will say, but still, he was all right in that one. So we got Denzel in that one, and I got Denzel in Training Day.
Is it dad in Training Day? Wow.
The kid.
That's right. Yes. Yes, that's right.
So clearly, only sees that kid once or twice a week to just bang his mom, and then has a gunfight in front of him without really caring if he hits him or not. So that's a fair point. That's a couple of strikes. Yeah. It's not good. And it makes it seem like he's got a couple other kids laying around out there. It's not his only operation. And then the latest one, I'm going to go Fences, which came out.
Didn't see Fences.
But it's essentially just a mean drunk of a dad. Slightly abusive, not too crazy. But just very much,
just enough. Right?
Yeah, not like blatantly beating, but, he'll smack you. And just, you'll never be as good as me type dad. I didn't get any breaks, so why should you kind of shit. And just, cheated on the mom, got another woman pregnant while, the mom, while married. And then, they had to take care of that kid too. It was just a horrible mess of things. So I'm going to go Denzel there for 3. I think the worst of those 3, I would have to say He Got Game.
Is that the one he did not get nominated for an Oscar for?
He got nominated for, and he won for
Training Day, and he got nominated.
He definitely got nominated for Fences. He might not have got nominated for. He might have got nominated.
Maybe he did. Maybe.
But yeah, murder is hard to come back from as a dad.
Murdering the mom. I mean, because he got a shootout in Training Day in front of the kid.
He was in other movies where he was good. What was the one where the kid was needed the surgery? And he takes a hospital hostage because
that's a good one. John Q.
John Q. He had some redeeming moments.
And not that he's a dad per se, but Man on Fire.
Man on Fire, very
so good,
driven,
like very fatherly.
That was
figure,
good murdering. That was good father murdering.
Yes, exactly. Just some good father murdering there, and sacrifices himself.
So 3 and 2 then. Yeah. That would even.
So it evens out. Okay. All right.
Yeah, we'll go with Denzel. He Got Game.
Okay, cool. My next one, Daniel Plainview. There Will Be Blood.
Yeah, a little out there.
Not gonna win Father of the Year awards. Great performance by Daniel Day-Lewis. I mean, that's an understatement. But the whole his son basically becomes deaf, and he just sends him away and treats him like shit. And then his son comes back, and it's like, you were a baby in a basket, a bastard in a basket.
So great.
So fucking good. Like, such a great performance. So good.
I also thought of including him as well for Lincoln. But that's hard because that's real. But
for best father?
No, the worst.
For best, I mean, he's the father of one of the founding fathers, right?
One of his kids died. He was clearly favored the other one over the older one. And hated Sally Field also on that one. Sally Field had a rough go with some of these husbands.
She's not good with she's not good at picking the men, I've abandoned my boy.
He cared at least. He cared a little bit. He tried
to a degree. He did. Yeah, he I don't know. It's debatable. Whether he cared about anything but himself. Yeah.
All right, so I'll go the obvious one with Darth Vader.
Hey, that's same one.
Yep.
So shared Darth Vader. Not a great father.
No, not at all. Not at all. Kill the mom. We had another kill mom situation.
Broke her heart. He broke her heart
to death.
Yeah. So good. Killed the younglings. I mean, let's just throw this out there. He killed the younglings.
Killed a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
And killed the kids of that other the other people that were holding his mom.
The sand people.
Yeah, killed a lot of them.
Just all
women and children.
Women and children.
That was a red flag. Probably should have seen that one coming.
Yeah. When
Padme,
listen, when your boyfriend comes home and says, I just slaughtered a village of kids and women.
Maybe don't.
Listen, I don't think you procreate with them. I don't think you have children with them.
It might be let's be friends situation.
Might be like, restraining order. Yeah.
And then unknowingly, but he probably should have known, being a Jedi and all, tortured his daughter.
Yeah.
And blew up her home planet.
Oh yeah. Fucked up.
Killing the only parents she only actually liked and knew and loved.
Pouring out for Jimmy Smits.
Blowing up Jimmy Smits, that poor bastard. Then chopped off his son's hand.
Chopped off his son's hand, yeah.
And kind of led him to almost die. Then, the little redemptive 5 minutes at the end kind of doesn't...
No.
I'm not sure it erases everything.
No.
And later, you don't know this part, but there's a book about Leia later on in life where she's about to run for, president of the Senate or something. And it finally comes out that, no one actually knew that she was Vader's daughter as well.
Oh, really? Wow.
That was a secret. Only like 4 or 5 people knew. So like right before the election happens, they leak out that she's Vader's daughter. So no one trusts her anymore, of course, about anything. And so that breaks apart. And then that's how she goes and forms a resistance. So he's kind of responsible for the second half of Star Wars Wars as well.
Listen, it's a fair point. Would you trust Vader's kin? I mean, even though Luke, saves everything.
I'm not sure no one even knew that either. I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think so. It just wasn't widely known knowledge.
And
yeah. Even in this new version, like Luke is seen as this like mythical hero.
Yeah.
So if it came out that he was Vader's son, I don't know if that mythology would hold up, right?
Yeah, Luke's the only one that knows that Vader turned good at the end.
Mm-hmm.
No one else knows that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
That's why even Leia hated him too, because Luke told him that hey, he was good at the end, but she she didn't care. He's still the guy who tortured her and blew up her fucking planet. Hard to come back from that when a brother comes home and just says, "Hey, but he was nice to me for 5 minutes."
Yeah.
Like, doesn't really, fuck off.
He's also bad because he doesn't know how to fight with the high ground.
No, got a little too cocky there.
Nah, a little bit. All right, you go with your next one because we had a shared one. Yeah.
All right, so I'll go from there. That was my third. I will go with Pa Kent from the latest Man of Steel, Kevin Costner's version.
What?
Shitty guy, just not a good guy.
Come on. Really?
He doesn't let him save him. For no real reason.
Because it would expose his identity.
That was going to happen anyway. So he makes him carry around that whole guilt.
But didn't that form him into the man that he was?
Not really.
Knowing that he can't save everyone.
He always had a negative message. Always with the negative meaning. Like, remember, even when he came back in BVS.
He was right.
Oh, but negative, man.
He was so right, though. They turned on him.
The guy never smiled. He was just fucking gloomy. He was like, even when the kid was young, he's like, oh, maybe you're not normal. I don't know. It's like, oh, Jesus Christ, kid. It's not I mean, not that Russell Crowe was much better, but I don't know. Costner's Pa Kent there could have made that whole franchise a little more bright and happy.
Russell Crowe? Come on, no, wait a minute.
He was a little, send my kid off, whatever.
Well, better that or die. Right,
now I'm gonna be. I'll just be on the ship now, cracking wise and doing some, look over here jokes.
Terrible. I got a Superman 1 on my best list, so.
Brando?
Be prepared. I do. Yeah.
I have Brando.
Spoiler.
I got Brando and another one on my best list.
Godfather, I take it.
Yeah.
All right. We'll skip ahead. All right. My next one, Randy Robinson from The Wrestler.
Yeah, not little kind of absentee.
Not so good. Not so good, Al. And then tries to make it up with his daughter, and of course fails. Fails miserably. And then, expects to keep having, like... By the way, she's a terrible actress.
Horrible.
Oh, my God. She is so awful. It works in Westworld because she's a fucking robot.
But she was really bad also. I don't know if you ever... Did you watch True Blood?
I didn't watch True Blood, no.
She was like a vampire goddess or something in that one. And, awful.
She's not good. Not a good actress. And in The Wrestler, like... I mean, I love The Wrestler. I think The Wrestler's a fantastic movie. It's a remarkable performance by a couple of different actors, and she's not one of them. Because Marissa Tomei is even really good in it.
She's great in that.
Yeah, she got nominated. She got nominated for that too.
Probably better in. No, man, she was very good in My Cousin Vinny.
She's really good in My Cousin Vinny, but this validates the whole My Cousin Vinny thing. I was like, okay, she can act.
And then that's kind of the prototypical dad role as well, as far as the dad that put the career always first, whether it be sports or politics or the fuck, and then tries to come back and then fucks it up again, kind of thing. And I like that this one fucked it up again, and then that was it.
Yep.
Sometimes you see the ones fuck it up again, and then they get the second or third chance, and blah blah. So yeah, did you see the second Wall Street movie?
I saw most of it. I didn't see the whole thing.
That was similar as well.
I was not into it. Yeah.
They threw in a whole dad backstory in that one.
Yeah.
Where the son kills himself while he's in jail, and then daughter hates him, and then he comes back, and the daughter is okay with him for like 10 minutes, and he fucks her over again, and then he comes back, and it's kind of okay. So it's a very kind of career-driven dad role.
Who was the main lead in that one? It was
Shia LaBeouf.
It was Shia. Yeah. That was. Not so good. And
that was a star-studded thing too.
It was, yeah.
It really did not do well. James Brolin.
James or Josh? was James.
Josh, I'm sorry. Josh.
Yeah.
And then the daughter I'm forgetting is not the one who is not Michelle Williams. The other one.
Yeah.
They both look alike, but so yeah, that's that stereotypical father role of always too busy, didn't care about us.
Not on your list though, right? Is this?
Oh no, I saw that one around, yeah, but that's a very common one.
All right. What's your last one?
So I did Vader.
Yeah, this will be last, right?
Yeah, then I'll go Corleone with the last one.
Yeah.
My of the Michael variety.
Michael, not Vito.
Yeah, because I did a few where it's like that one good dad and one two movies, one good, one bad, and just what a bad, not a good father, not a good husband. Good husband in Italy maybe. That guy might have been a nice guy.
Maybe.
But as soon as he came back, just treated her like shit. Michael, the son's name was Michael, right, too? Mm-hmm. The whole scene, Michael's not fine. You can see the kid just kind of stares at the fucking wall. He doesn't give a shit. After she has the abortion, and she just kicks it, he just kicks her out of the family and then just treats her like shit in front of the kids. They don't do a whole lot more with that as far as in 2, but in 3 really shines through. As
if you needed a reason for 3 to,
the son clearly hates him. Yeah. Lets the daughter bang the cousin. I don't know how that. I know eye ties are a little different, but Jesus. And then of course gets the daughter killed, because standing next to him. So, whereas Vito, as we'll talk about, was more very protective and put family over everything. Michael was always kind of pretended to put the family over everything, but really put himself first, or
Okay.
Kind of the hidden meaning of that movie, that everyone still kind of celebrates him for some reason, but still never realizes that he dies sad and alone. And lives sad and alone for most of his life as well.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the I won't get into it with Vito, so maybe I won't get into it right now. But it's interesting to see how that plays out with the lineage, the 3 sons, and poor fucking Vito in the end. The tragedies of his 3 sons, all 3 different types of tragedies, right? You have arrogance, kind of ego, kind of does one of the sons in. You have kind of jealousy, and just overall being shunned by the other brothers, with Fredo. And then you have the one that you try to raise right, and he picks up like all of the bad traits that you didn't want him to pick up, as opposed to all the good things that he could have, right? I mean, there were so many, we'll get into Vito, but there's so many things that he could have picked up from Vito that could have made him a better person. And he picked up on all the bad things about Vito, and he focused in on those. So it's fascinating. It's almost a Shakespearean or very classic kind of Greek tragedy where essentially a king that has these 3 sons, and they each have these tragic endings.
At least Tom got out of the 3rd one, for God's sakes.
Yeah, hey, listen, that's a fair point, because he technically had 4 sons. He had the adopted son.
Raised Tom.
He raised Tom as a son, so no worries. My last one, you've seen Natural Born Killers?
Yeah.
Rodney Dangerfield.
Ooh.
Mallory's dad in Natural Born Killers.
Do you also have Rodney Dangerfield again then in Buttercup or Ladybugs as well?
Ladybugs as well. Pretty bad. You have a thing about men dressing as women. I see that, Marty. You have an issue. You have an issue with men dressing as women. I don't want to read into that too much, Marty.
Here, put this wig on. Play. No one will say anything.
But Jesus, the fantastic performance by Rodney Dangerfield. Oh, fantastic, but like. You talk about pure creep and sleaze and just terrible father and husband, and like, and it's such a short part of the film. It's not like they don't dwell on it for long periods of time. It's pretty much like 10 minutes worth of the film.
I mean, it's clearly a long-lasting effect of 10 minutes.
Jesus Christ. For those of you who haven't seen Natural Born Killers, if you're not interested in seeing the whole movie, just find that scene. Find the Rodney Dangerfield scene. So damn good. And he's watching wrestling. It's like, hit the fucking Indian. It's Tanaka, right? You remember Tanaka
good
from
old racist wrestling was so much better back then.
So what are you doing? You're just standing there. Yeah. So that's a worst 5. Let's kick off our best 5. Go ahead. Did you want to continue with Vito or?
Yeah, we'll start there. I guess it was easy. Like I said, you could tell even from the early, the flashback scenes that he cared about his kids. He wasn't just Michael was never home kind of thing. Where you tell Vito was home when you see that Fredo was sick, clearly because it affected him. Took care of Connie. Once he goes, Connie completely loses her fucking mind. Tried to teach Sonny to be a good dad and good father, just didn't work. The whole speech in the beginning, a good man. A man can never be a good man unless he takes care of his family. After he knows he clearly was Sonny was all fucking one of the bridesmaids. Took in Tom when he didn't have to, and then even when Michael went off to war against his wishes, I suppose, still had to did the best for him. Even took over the Godfather role, not so much Godfather of the movie part, but Godfather of the church role, as far as taking care of what's his name? Who was the singer?
Oh yeah.
Johnny Fontaine.
Yeah.
With his olive oil hair.
I just wanted to say Sinatra. I mean, I was literally, I just wanted to say, oh, he's Sinatra? You're talking about Sinatra, right?
Yeah, so, I mean, he clearly, of course, still a guy who sponsored murders and all types of other things, but still took care of the people around him first and, took care of his wife. And
yeah, I'd say, again, not that it's a fault, but I'd say that the son he focused probably the most attention on was his adopted one, right? The one that he raised the best and the one that came out the best. And I wonder if that was just a matter of graciousness or gratitude, right? Like, the fact is that the 3 were born into this and Tom was chosen, right? He was selected. So, okay. All right. I'll Brando, my Brando would be Jor-El in Superman, right? I know you kind of made mention to the Jor-El, the Russell Crowe in the new one. Okay, so the planet's exploding, and he decides, okay, well, I have the son, I want him to live, right? We're all going to die. You might as well live and find a chance to live. So, okay. But then the parallels kind of end there. I think the Jor-El in the original Superman series was this more guiding figure and was this more teaching lessons and trying to, help and benefit, the world and his son. And I think from beyond the grave or whatever was able to be a great father. So I think original Jor-El, Marlon Brando, nice little performance by Brando too. Before he went completely batshit crazy.
Do we have a best father in a superhero movie? Just gonna go off track for a second.
Well, Thomas Wayne.
A lot of them die. Good, right? Yeah.
Thomas Wayne seems like a good father.
Only there till what, 5 or 6?
Yeah. Thomas Wayne's a good one though.
Spider-Man doesn't have a father.
Spider-Man doesn't have a father. Spider-Man's father died or just left?
Unless you watched a deleted scene of Amazing Spider-Man 2 where he somehow came back.
Did he die or just leave?
He died, but then, like in that one, that was stupid. Batman, we talk about, father dies early. Superman, father dies.
Wolverine's good father in Logan, this last run of Logan.
For 10 minutes or so. Yeah. We don't have a lot of fathers in superhero movies, I suppose.
A bad one, the comedian in Watchmen.
Oh, yeah, not a good, no.
Bad.
Good guy.
Yeah, father, it's interesting for all that, the Hulk has a bad father figure.
Yeah, oh God, Nick Nolte.
So, a lot of probably father issues, right? Oh, geez, Guardians of the Galaxy, another bad father.
Oh yeah, the world there. Wonder Woman.
Thanos, bad father.
Thanos, not a
Wonder Woman didn't have. Well, Wonder Woman's father was a god. Right?
Zeus, yeah, whatever. It's kind of an absentee father.
Well, when you're God of gods, I mean,
Yeah, well, I mean, we have a lot of uncles and butlers that do good things.
Yeah, yeah.
Not dads don't stick around as superheroes. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's an interesting study.
Yeah. Sure, we're missing some.
It gotta be. Can't.
All right. Well, you go to your next one. I'll
We had
do some Google search.
If we had an audience, but could give us some answers. I went a little obscure with this one. Did you ever see My Life with Michael Keaton?
I don't think so.
Early '90s, I want to say. He's married. He's him and Nicole Kidman, bit of an odd match. I won't lie, but he's dying of cancer, and she gets pregnant. So he knows he's gonna die, and so he records like all of his life lessons on videotape for his son to be born. It's sad as hell. Like, God bless him.
That's rough.
But it's one of his better performances. It gets kind of lost in the whole mid-90s Keaton-assance, whatever you want to call it. But really just, teaching about, this is how you shave, this is how you cook, this is how you talk to girls, this is how you do this. And really just, it was really touching, I thought. Now, he can't get too much Great Father awards because he, of course, didn't have to deal with a kid in his teenage years or anything like that. But, it was very touching how he kind of thought to do all that stuff for his son. After he dies, of course, they show the kid later on watching all the videos. And I mean, it's really one of his better performances, I thought.
It's rough. I mean, having kids is fantastic, but then you have those thoughts. You have those thoughts of like, I don't travel that much, but I still get on airplanes, and in my head, like, at the end of the day, when your kid's kind of acting like a dick to you, and you're just like
when you can't go see Solo because the kid's crying.
But like you still hold them and you hug them and you say I love you, and because you just never know, right? What's the last thing is just me saying it's like, just like, stop being an asshole. I wouldn't say that, but
Well, that's always a crazy thing you see in movies too, where it's like the tragic death, and it's like, oh, it was 3 Billboards we watched this year or last year, whatever it was. Where the last thing she says was, "Oh, I hope you'll get raped and murdered." Yeah. And it happens. That's probably never going to happen in real life, God willing, but
it might. Listen,
there's always those things like, oh, and we did Kodachrome this year, where it's the father and son hated each other for many years, but then he's dying. So what do? Do you say fuck him? I don't care, or do you try and make amends before he dies? There's been different ways. Do you see what was with Honors? Do you ever see that one with Joe Pesci?
No.
Joe Pesci plays a bum or whatever, and he abandoned his son long ago, and it turns out he's dying. So they go see the guy. They go try. They go see him, and he's like, and the son just kind of doesn't really he's like, oh, I'm sorry, and just kind of slams the door in his face. And it's his right too, as well. It's not, you don't have to care that someone's dying that treated you like shit. But it's always this weird thing you see in movies where it's like either, oh my God, I didn't tell him I loved him when he dies. Like, oh, he knew. It's like, and it's all those kind of stupid things. But it's funny when you talk about Jurassic again, but this is My Life as a movie where you're dying. So okay, so what do you do?
And that's the whole thing. So you know it's coming. So I mean, suggest just make a video every day. Save video.
And this was mid 90s. So he was doing this all on.
That's right. Now it's easy, right?
The kid. I wonder if the kid grew up and converted them all, or just said,
buys a fucking Betamax player so you can fucking watch them all. Yeah. Okay, I'll go with maybe a controversial one because I was debating whether this guy's a good father or actually a terrible father, and ultimately I went good father. Brian Mills from Taken.
I saw him on a few lists. I didn't want to do it though. It's
a tough one, right? Because I mean, at the end of the day, well, your family does get kidnapped a lot, man.
Your the wife's dead because of you.
But that first, yes, the wife's dead because I didn't say he's a good husband.
I mean, Taken 3 never could happen to begin with, but whatever. That's another issue.
Listen, I didn't say he's a good husband. I said a good father. This is a fine line there. Actually, he's probably a bad husband. He's divorced, and it's not going all right. But I mean, in the first one, we look at the first Taken. His daughter legitimately does get kidnapped. It's not his fault. Not his fault.
No, he was trying to be protective too. He gave her all the phones and
Yep. And he legit goes badass father. Like, not for. I'm a fan of all of them. But, I don't.
They got worse. They got worse and worse.
They do, but I'm a fan.
It was very much like
but that first
one, a comedy.
That first one though.
It's the same problem as the Bachelor Party movie. What was that one?
The one with the
Bradley Cooper and all those
fucking guys. The Hangover.
Hangover, yeah. Great first movie. Couldn't just leave it alone. Because if they had taken that character and just did different things with it, I thought it would have been cool. But to then the next one, all right, the wife gets in, and then the third one, the wife gets killed, and they try to do something else, but it's still just the same kind of story.
Yeah.
But was it the second one where he's telling her how to throw bombs around? Is that?
I think so. Yeah.
That's good or bad parenting, either way. I'm not,
But honestly, like if it would have been like the president's daughter gets kidnapped and he's got to go save the president's daughter, like
they could have done some different things.
They could have done different things. It didn't have to be his family, right? At this point, his family could be fucking safe. And now it's just like, all right, this dude's the best at getting people.
Yeah, just getting people.
Yeah,
because we've seen a few knockoffs of that as well now.
Yeah.
And he also got her that audition with the pop star at the end.
Yes, she did.
Not sure that one day worked, but
what's her name? She's from Lost, right? She's from Lost. The actress.
Was she the daughter?
Yeah. She
there's
was
a crazy. There's a YouTube video. I forget. I think I saw Opie and Anthony make fun of it once. There's just a YouTube video of watching her run. Daughter, because she just runs like a complete asshole.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. She played Shannon on Lost. She was the brother and sister.
Buried alive, right? Wasn't she buried alive?
Buried alive. No, she got shot, didn't she? Because wasn't she in love with Saeed when she got shot?
Okay, there's one couple that got buried alive.
Like Nikki and Paulo.
Catatonic or whatever.
Nikki and Paulo did.
That was a fucking scary. That was a harsh episode.
Yeah, Paulo's on Westworld now. He plays the. You watch Westworld, right?
No, I haven't. I just finished Billions. I gotta get to the show.
Okay, then you wouldn't know who the hell he is, but yeah. No, that was Nikki and Paulo that get buried alive. Shannon gets shot. Michael, right? Walt's dad, shoots her.
Save Walt, and then
and
it's the whole problem.
Yeah. Anyway,
that show, like, I don't know if it'd be worth a rewatch because I'm sure it'd be just as crazy. But
I'm tempted. Listen, I love that show and I love the ending, and I'm a huge fan of it. I'm tempted to do a rewatch to see if it holds up. I have these very positive memories of Lost.
I just think the whole show might have been the journey, and so knowing where it ends up might not be as worth it. Like I can watch any episode of West Wing, and still enjoy it, but knowing that, like, to watch an episode where it's like, oh, what does that mean? It's like when you know what it means, it might not be as good.
I don't know, because I still I'll still catch some of the earlier episodes, especially like when the hatch, like when the light clicks on in the hatch, and just like I still get kind of goosebumps about that. It's just like, even knowing that it's like, okay, well, Desmond's down in that hatch, and this is what happens with Desmond, and that great storyline and how that plays out. But when that light clicks onto the hatch, and it's just like, it's still kind of, it's still kind of mysterious and still kind of special to me. So I don't know. Maybe those first couple of seasons, maybe the second half of this series, I probably wouldn't get as too jazzed about. But even so, like, man, the Dharma Initiative, when they're back in the 70s, that's some cool stuff, man.
Oh yeah, that was good. Yeah,
some really cool stuff. I mean, Sawyer, and Juliet. I
mean, I'm sure I would have forgot. I will forget half of it when I watch it anyway. So
yeah. Anyway, Brian Mills Taken. That's my. I guess that's a good second one. How about you? What's your next one?
I'm going J.K. Simmons, Juno.
Good one. Hey, good one. I didn't even think about that one. That's a good one.
Has a divorced dad with a new mom. Has Ellen Page comes home knocked up, doesn't freak out. God bless him. More of a
what's the line he says? I'm gonna punch.
It's like when they find out it's the Michael Cera, it's like, really him? So yeah, doesn't freak out, doesn't have the Dan Connor response of going outside and breaking up the drywall. Doesn't scream and clearly upset and disappointed. And that was probably the more cutting. He didn't scream and yell and do whatever. He's like, I didn't think. I think the line was more like, I expected more out of you, or just I didn't think you would do this kind of thing or something. And it was more like, oh, the disappointment is more than the yelling. But still goes with her to the adoption, the adopted. And Jason, you can throw in Jason Bateman on the worst list, I suppose.
Oh, yeah.
This big time asshole.
And then when you start to drag Jason Bateman into his TV role on Arrested Development, he might be one of the worst fathers ever. Well, honestly. Like, we just started watching the new season of Arrested Development, too, and it does not make a good case to redeem himself as a father at all. Possibly the worst father on TV.
So yeah, great, just modern parenting performance there from Simmons. Yeah. I think it was before Whiplash. It wasn't as he goes to the hospital with her, goes through the whole thing. Very
Good, yeah, that's a good pick.
Juno, I think I still enjoy that one. More of a forgotten great movie because Ellen Page really hasn't done much since. So.
Yeah, she did the roller derby one, right?
Yeah, and then the woman who wrote the movie had a couple bombs afterwards. So.
Okay. I'll go Marlin from Finding Nemo.
Okay, yeah, that
was
out there.
Good dad. Rough, right? I mean, rough beginning, and you can understand he's very overprotective of his kid. He tries, and his worst fear kind of comes true, but just doesn't give up, right? Just whatever he's got to do. He's terrified. He doesn't want to go in the open ocean. He's, and just does it. And, great father. Like, honestly, Marlin, top notch.
Fish.
He's good fish.
Dad.
Good fish, yeah. But, even in the sequel, still a good guy.
Are they doing a third one of that?
Yeah, they'd be silly not to. Those make money.
That's money.
Finding Dory made.
What else are you gonna find?
So much. Anything. Finding Atlantis. Finding Marlin. Who knows, right?
Pixar does a good enough thing, but they don't care. They'll take a 10-year break, as we'll see next week with the Incredibles.
Incredibles, yeah.
And people still come out and watch it.
Oh, that's gonna make so much money. Incredibles is gonna kill. I know my kid's really not into it, but even like doing like a whole bunch of toy stuff with Jack, the baby, and so my daughter's got some kind of interest in it just because of that. So they're not idiots. They gotta know what they're doing. So Marlin, he's not the only cartoon father on my list. I have my next one cartoon father as well. So
that's exciting.
Yeah.
I went the next one, Lawrence Fishburne, Boys in the Hood.
Good one.
Yeah.
Damn good one.
Very much, had to be hard as nails kind of guy. Had the very scary technique of what are those balls called? The balls he kind of rotates in his hand. What do you call it? very symbolic. We'll say. But,
I just want to keep saying Benoit balls.
And I think that's right, isn't it? Is that what it is?
Possibly.
Yeah. So like. It turned, Cuba Gooding Jr. It was a weird kind of setup in that you didn't really know what happened between him and Angela Bassett character where, all right, you're going to live with your father moment to start the movie. And it seemed like they didn't live that far apart, so it was odd to see why they didn't have more of a sharing co-parent relationship, but it was the early 90s and things were different, I suppose. So they kind of dropped him off at his father's, Benoit. Yeah, I think you were right.
Well, but no. So Benoit balls, also known as orgasm balls.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
they have small marble-sized balls, usually hollow and containing a small weight that roll around and are used for sexual stimulation.
I mean, that's they have multiple things. Lawrence Fishburne did some strange things. But yeah, like he was the complete hard-nosed dad, kept Cuba Jr. from getting shot. Mainly was his only job in the movie.
Playing with Benoit balls, keeping kids safe.
Even get safe. Told him that Ice Cube was an asshole, not to fuck with him. Didn't want to listen. So
some balls.
Really, I think that's really the best of that guy's movies.
Who, Fishburne?
Not Fishburne.
Oh no, John Singleton.
John Singleton.
John Singleton. Yeah.
Yeah, he never, and it's just such a promising start there between him and even Ice. That's probably Ice Cube's best role, and he just decided to go make comedies mostly after that for whatever reason. But I think it really dealt with the gang, 90s Compton situation well, and was a complete hard ass, and maybe you didn't understand it as a kid, but kept his kids safe and kept them straightened.
Yeah,
that was a job back then. And now, keep your kid alive is really goal one.
Did he do one of the Fast and Furious movies, John Singleton? He did 2 Fast, 2 Furious.
Yeah, that was all.
So he did, Boys in the Hood, definitely his best. Poetic Justice, Higher Learning.
Him and Higher Learning. That's him and Ice Cube's only second other really serious role.
Rosewood, Shaft. He did that Shaft, which is a fun. Listen, man, it's a fun movie. It's fun. It's not good. It is not good, but it's so fun. That Shaft movie is so fun. Like I find Christian Bale in it is just wild, and then the other guy who's also in
Jackson is Shaft.
Jeffrey Wright, who's also in Westworld.
He plays a Spanish guy, I think.
Like a Dominican drug lord. That dude, Jeffrey Wright, is so freaking liberal. By the way, you ever see him on Twitter? That dude does not take any time off of attacking Trump.
Well, neither does Samuel Jackson either.
Fair point. Yeah, fair point.
We don't have De Niro on any of these father lists. We can't talk about that.
That's a good pick. It's a good pick. Good movie too. So my next one, which is the next cartoon one, is Gru from Despicable Me.
Okay.
Turns out to be a very great father. Of course, the plot of the first one is he adopts these kids in order to use them as pawns in a scheme, a theft scheme of his, and then he ends up growing to love them. And especially in the second one, he shows how he's trying to be a single father and raise them, very well. The third one, he's doing less parenting in it. Still's got some, but the second one is they're all good movies. Listen, I'm a huge fan of Despicable Me, even the Minions movie. They're very fun movies. But that second one, there's a lot of just like great fatherly moments, where he's just trying to protect his kid from the boy. He's got like the teenage girl, and there's the boy, and dancing with her and stuff like that. It's like, and especially with the youngest one, and how he knows how vulnerable she is and how she needs like a mother figure in her life, and he's trying his best. So I think Gru. And a good performance by Steve Carell. I think he has so much fun doing that role.
I had Carell as another one as a possibility for Dan in real life, but I won't go with that one as the last one.
I didn't see all of that movie. I've only seen parts of it. Yeah, I catch a lot of these movies just like the tail end of it on like
these are a lot of these are TV movies.
Yeah. So I'll watch like the last like 45 or 50 minutes of it. I'll get sucked into a movie, and I always say, I should go back and watch that. I never fucking do. I think that was one of them. I probably just caught like the tail end of it one night. It's like, oh, this is good. I should watch it again. I just fucking forgot. Yeah.
Probably the best vehicle for Dane Cook as well. No.
So this is it. Is this your last one?
Last one, not best one, but the last one on the list here. Michael Caine, Inception.
Okay. I'm going to admit something. I haven't seen it.
You didn't see Inception?
I started watching it on an airplane, and it made me sick.
Oh my
and I stopped watching
God. How do you watch that movie on an airplane, It's like the most cinematic fucking thing. It's ridiculous as hell, but it's...
It's for the same reason I haven't seen Avatar, and maybe it's silly, is...
didn't see it in the theaters.
I didn't see it in the theaters, and I just,
I have the DVD. I'm giving you that DVD on Saturday. You're going to watch that one.
DVD? Who watches DVDs anywhere?
Well, no one, but it's better than a plane, for God's sake.
That's a fair point. I've always meant to, and,
But he plays Leo's father in that one.
Okay.
And just kind of, as Leo's doing all his nonsense, I can't spoil it now for you.
Yeah, no, please don't.
But takes care of his life while Leo's, fucking around doing all this other crazy shit. So, and Michael Caine also just a great fatherly role in life, I would say. So, basically, Batman's father in those three. So,
I think that's. I haven't seen the other Nolan movie, the one with Matthew McConaughey. I didn't see that one either.
Oh, also very good. Like, a little, not as good, but
didn't see that one.
Again, another one was great in space.
And same thing. I saw Dunkirk on a fucking plane.
Yeah, you gotta get that Nolan stuff, man.
What was that one called? The
look,
the outer space one.
It's not Gravity. Interstellar.
Interstellar. Okay. So my story about Interstellar is at the time I was traveling. I was in Oregon at the time, in Corvallis, Oregon, on a business trip, and I was gonna go out while I was there to see Interstellar in a theater in Corvallis, Oregon, and last minute got informed that Stuart Gordon, the director of Reanimator, was available to do an interview. So I for the sake of the show, ducked out of seeing Interstellar in theaters so I could interview Stuart Gordon, and I'd say I'd probably pick the right thing, you know. Hashtag synergy. Stuart Gordon interview. I think we have some of it here on YouTube. I don't know if the full Stuart Gordon interview exists here on YouTube. I gotta get those interviews over. There's some good stuff. I know we talk about the Sam Rockwell interview, but the Stuart Gordon interview is fantastic. Which interviewed a lot of people from the '80s, like a lot of actors from the '80s. Linnea Quigley, which is a big time horror actress in the '80s. Barbara Crampton. So yeah, there's a lot of these interviews. I gotta get them over.
I'll link our interview playlist to the end of this one.
Yeah, cool. All right. My last one would be Gil Buckman from Parenthood. Steve Martin.
Parenthood. Steve Martin had a few roles that I saw on some lists.
Steve Martin. Have you ever seen Parenthood? Ooh, I lost your audio. Uh-oh. Your audio just dropped out. Ooh. I did not see your audio. I don't know what happened, Marty. Uh-oh. It's a good thing it's the end of the show. Yeah. Yeah, your audio just completely cut out. You want to try to unplug your headset and plug it back in, see if that does anything? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you're back. Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. Parenthood. You think?
I'm sure I have, but
Keanu Reeves was very young.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't get too much into it, but Steve Martin's character, just an overall good dad. He's got like this teenage son who's got this high, he's very anxious. His wife. I don't know how many kids he's got. He's got a bunch of kids, and finds out his wife is pregnant again. Like it's just unexpected, like late, just kind of like surprise, she got pregnant. He's got a pretty demanding boss and job, and his own father is kind of a piece of crap to him, and despite that, he goes to the baseball games. He does all the things. When the person he hired for his kid's birthday party doesn't show up, he dresses up as the cowboy and like does all these great things. Kind of takes in Keanu Reeves, who's like the daughter's boyfriend, and kind of it's actually a great Keanu Reeves role. It's probably like one of my favorites. He's got like this really powerful scene where he's talking about his own father, and it's like my dad would flick a cigarette at me and say, "Hey asshole, wake up and make me breakfast." And it's just he's talking about like they find like these porn magazines in the kid's room, and Keanu Reeves like, that's what little dudes do. And it's such a good performance. But watching Steve Martin in this role, I mean, Steve Martin's had some fantastic roles. He's had some not so great roles, but this is not only comedic, but this is like really good acting on his part, and check it out, Parenthood, very good.
Yeah, he was also listed for the other one.
I didn't see that, Father of the Bride.
Father Bride, and then the one where they have all the fucking kids.
What is that one? It's the
8 or 9 fucking.
Yeah, 8, yeah, something like that.
Just stupid. Like that. If you really do that, you're just an asshole. That's another thing you don't see anymore, really. Like I grew up. I came from. My mother had, came from 9. Is one of 9. You never see that again. You don't see that anymore. I don't know if it's TV or whatever, or just people realizing that shit's too expensive anymore. But
yeah,
people figured out we're not gonna have more than 2 or 3.
No, there's still a lot like out in like Utah, out in.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah,
that's the problem. Those people vote the other way. So.
but I'd say probably more so where the cost of living is a bit lower. I'm not in our area. It's just there's no space. There's not enough resources. There's not enough jobs. There's not enough anything. Like really, to have honestly, to have more than 3 is just like ridiculous. It's just ridiculous to have more than 3. 2 is the perfect number of people. If you're asking me. If by some miracle a 3rd one happens, 3 is the perfect number of people. But 2 as of right now is
well, we would know soon enough for you because you always have them in January. So.
It's not like every year. It's not like every January I have one. Come on, man. There was a few years in between, so I have a couple more years before Yeah. Okay. Well, we clocked in right under an hour. We got about 3 minutes left. Anything newsworthy?
Do you have anything big planned for your Father's Day? What do you guys do?
I don't know. Like, there's nothing that I know of. If the weather's nice, I'm sure I'll grill. I enjoy grilling. I don't know. Listen, I don't know. I'll give my father a call. I'll do that. Send a couple texts to my brother and my brother-in-law. So my father-in-law. Get him some beer or something like that. For me, like whatever my girls decide, I'm cool with. And again, listen, I like the simple things in life, Marty. I like to have a beer. I like to grill. I like to just chill.
Now your girls are still young, so what age do you start expecting to get actual gifts from them? Because now it's kind of the thing where Aaron gets them something and then says it's from the girls. But
honestly, like I love the stuff that Annie makes. Her school is great. My daughter's in such. She's about to graduate her pre-K program, which is just making me feel just very old and emotional. But they're really great with getting the kids to do stuff for Mother's Day and Father's Day. So this Friday, I'll go into school in the morning with her and have donuts with Dad. So we'll have donuts there, and I love it. She did it last year and she did it this year again. I can't wait to see it. And Erin's posted hers online too. It's almost like a Mad Libs type thing where they have we have to fill in the blanks. It's like my dad is blank years old. My dad works hard at blank. And I mean, I can barely explain my job. Imagine my kid trying to explain my job, right? Marty, can you explain what I do? Marty, you've known me for how long?
I can barely explain what I do. Explain what you do.
So, but I look forward to
assurance.
Yeah. I don't even do that anymore. That's like a fraction of my job. But I look forward to that. I look forward to, and then I have stuff that she's given me, like.
Not that creepy thing.
No. Here's a coaster. Dad, you're the coolest.
Oh, look at that.
Did you
put the gin on that?
I do. Hendrick's Gin, ladies and gentlemen. Right on my Dad, you're the coolest coaster. Isn't it fitting? I mean, that's where it belongs. Right? Yeah. You actually noticed that I'm not actually drinking gin tonight. I'm drinking Coca-Cola.
I assumed you just you threw it in there. And
we nipper courage. Cool. You gonna visit your dad or anything?
Yeah, I
Or,
take him down to the track for the
yeah,
day.
you do
We've
the
done that
track
for a
thing.
couple of years
Cool,
now.
cool. Yeah,
Enjoys it.
yeah. I figured
Yeah,
that
and
at a Yankees game, but they're
yeah,
out
and
of
look
town.
together.
They out of town. They're in
They
DC.
should. They'll be. I'm going. Yeah, they're in town. They're playing DC here, I believe.
Playing DC here. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
because we're going to the game tomorrow, actually.
Oh, cool, cool, cool. Nice. No, so whatever whatever the girls want. It's mostly I like with Aaron, same thing. Like I talk to Annie and it's like, Annie, what do you want to do for mommy for Mother's Day? And she has a say. It's her.
And he's definitely opinionated. She's got
Annie's got she's got opinions, and you'd be damn sure that I listen. She's a smart girl. So, but no, it's kind of a sappy holiday, but it's hard not to enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's cool. As much as I gripe about it, I love being a father, and I think for the longest time I was kind of wanted to be. I always saw myself with having kids, and I love it 97% of the time.
That's fair.
It's good amount. It's a good percent.
High A.
It's a high A. People have called me a high A before, but I don't know what the A stood for. Let's wrap up another episode of the Movie Stuff Show. We'll be back next week. We'll figure out something to talk about, retro review, or Abe said that he'll join us on the show again. He said he would do an episode with us. But he said his caveat is we have to talk about Showgirls. So we have to do a retro review of Showgirls.
I'm in.
And so maybe we'll have a retro review of Showgirls coming up in our near future.
It won't be creepy at all.
I promise not to do that much. I'm so excited. I just can't hide it. Saved by the Bell references. I will try not to.
I will be scared the whole time. So.
I'm so scared. Please follow us at Movies and Stuff Show on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We should. Do you do any stuff on social media anymore?
Yeah, I tweet every day. Tweeting out trailers and stuff.
Cool. So we're still worth following us. Do it. Every so often I'll post pictures on Instagram. Maybe I should get more into that too. All right. So yeah, we'll be back sometime next week. So just kind of keep an eye out on YouTube. We'll try next Tuesday. Listen, we'll try. We'll try Tuesday 9 p.m. We'll try, but no promises. Well, I don't know about this Joker's softball schedule. So
very important.
Very important. Marty put some videos up, as I mentioned. So I just threw my pen.
Yep.
Good night, everyone. Bye.